Greg Butcher, Director of Bird Conservation with National Audubon. Greg, so nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you. Happy to have you here.
Great to be here.
Great. And we're talking about climate change and bird conservation. And
Right.
what can you talk to us about that for the future of bird conservation?
So I've been involved in a couple studies recently where we've looked at birds and climate change. And one of the studies we did was to look at the vulnerability of birds to climate change. And we assessed all the birds in the United States for their vulnerability to climate change. And we found that birds of the oceans, birds of the Arctic, coastal birds are among the most vulnerable to climate change. But we found that every bird in the United States is vulnerable to climate change. And we really need to try to keep climate change from spreading too fast so it won't affect these birds too badly.
Because we know that our birds are moving north with climate change?
So the other study we did was we looked at Christmas bird count data over the last 40 years, and we looked at 305 species that are really widespread in the United States in winter. We found that 170 out of those 305 species shifted their ranges north over the last 40 years. And we were able to show that in warmer winters they're farther north and in colder winters they're farther south. And we did other studies to show that the change in the birds' ranges is due to the warmer winters we've had over the last 40 years.
It's getting warmer and wetter.
It is indeed, yeah. So Missouri's interesting because Missouri's getting wetter, but the western half of the country is expected to get much drier in the face of climate change. And warmer and drier is actually much worse for birds than warmer and wetter is. So we're very worried about arid lands birds, we're worried about shortgrass prairie birds, because that's an area where the dryness could really be problematic.
Well, thank you. Nice meeting you again.
Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. And whatever you're doing for bird conservation, keep it up because it's important work.
Great work.